Have you ever seen a house that didn't feel right? Abandoned, left in time, and forgotten. People say they're empty. They're wrong. Something still moves inside, and it knows your name. Welcome to Sterling Short Stories. Story number 1, A Roadside Nightmare. I shouldn't have gone into that old creepy house. It had been drawing me in for weeks, standing there on the hill, looking abandoned and mysterious. But tonight, curiosity got the better of me. As soon as I stepped inside, a chill ran down my spine as if the house knew I was there. The air was cold and smelled of dust. I could feel a presence. It felt wrong and not human. Everything in my mind was telling me to go back, but my foolish ego told me to enter and go deeper into the house. Every step I took made the floor creak loudly, the echoes bouncing around in the silent air. Shadows seemed to jump around the walls as my flashlight beam moved across them. I walked slowly down the hallway, hearing a strange noise ahead, like a creaking sound. I turned a corner and saw an old rocking chair, moving gently back and forth. Even though no one was there, my heart pounded. Could it just be the wind? Then my flashlight started to flicker, threatening to leave me in darkness. I quickly tapped it, trying to keep the light steady, and moved closer. Though fear tightened in my chest, suddenly, I heard a whisper in my ear. It sounded just like my name, carried on the still, cold air. When the flashlight went out, darkness swallowed me whole. Panic hit me, and I scrambled to turn it back on. When it finally did, I saw no one else in the room except for a shadowy figure standing by the window, eyes glowing eerily. I was too scared to move, caught in its chilling gaze. Everything inside me screamed to run, but I was stuck there, unable to break free. In that terrifying moment, I realized that I'd stepped into a place I should have never dared to enter, where something dark and dangerous was waiting for anyone foolish enough to disturb it. My flashlight went out one last time. My breath quickened. The darkness swallowed me, and the unholy being made its move. If you ever find yourself standing before that crumbling doorway, hear this warning. Turn back. Don't step across the threshold. No matter how curious or brave you feel, inside waits something that feeds on your fear, your hope, your very life. Once the house's shadows reach for you, there is no escape. Do not stay. Do not linger. Leave, and never look back. Story number 2, Awakened Screams. I woke up to a scream that cut through the silence, like a knife through skin. It was sharp and high-pitched. My heart jumped so hard, I thought it would crash through my ribs. Moonlight spilled in through the broken windows of the old house, painting everything in silver shadows. The boards creaked under me as I sat up. I didn't remember falling asleep here. The room was empty. Dust floated like tiny ghosts in the light. The walls were covered in peeling wallpaper, and the floor was old and had splintering wood. I was alone, or I thought I was. Another scream echoed. This one was different and closer this time. Down the hallway, I stepped into the corridor, the wood groaning with every step. The air smelled like rot and something metallic, like old pennies and blood. The house felt alive, like it was holding its breath, waiting. I moved toward the sound. The hallway twisted like a maze. Doors lined the walls, all slightly open, as if daring me to look inside. One door was wide open, light spilling out like it didn't belong here. I peeked inside. A woman was tied to a chair, her face bruised, her mouth gagged with a strip of cloth. She saw me and screamed again through it, thrashing wildly. She looked terrified of me. I didn't understand why. I opened my mouth to speak, to ask what was going on, but nothing came out. I couldn't remember anything. My head ached, like something important was hiding just behind my eyes. Footsteps echoed behind me. I turned and saw a mirror on the wall. It was cracked and dusty. The image I saw, I couldn't make it out, but it looked strange. I stepped closer, trying to ignore the thrashing and cries of help from this mystery woman. But the boy in the reflection wasn't me. His eyes were too dark, his smile too crooked with rows of sharp teeth, and his skin too pale. He looked wrong. Then the memories came back. The games I played here. I taunted them all before I ate them, and sadly, this wasn't my first victim. The neighbor. He always cut grass too early anyway. The principal. He was always grumpy and walked as though he was intimidating, but he screamed the loudest. Some guy at the grocery store. I don't really remember why I picked him. I was just hungry that night. And now my teacher. I enjoyed it. The screams, the blood, the way I laughed. This wasn't the first time I'd woken up like this. This house wasn't abandoned, it was mine. And it was where I brought all of my meals. Story number 3. Secret Neighbor. I moved back to Larch Street after all these years. I needed a fresh start. I grew up here years ago, and everyone I grew up with moved away, and the older ones either passed on or had the sense to leave after the fire. The house at the end of the road was still there, or what was left of it, blackened bones, shattered windows. The smell of ash had long faded, but I could still taste it when the wind blew just right. I told everyone I was just looking for peace and quiet, something simple after a rough patch. People love damaged men. They don't ask too many questions. I liked it that way. It was quiet and no one bothered me, except for one man, my next-door neighbor. Big guy, maybe late 50s, broad shoulders, thick forearms, always in a sleeveless shirt, even when the temperature dipped. He didn't smile much, and he watched me like he was sizing me up every time I stepped outside. He didn't like the way I looked at the burnt house, and warned me to stay away. The conversation was short, and he left, leaving me with more questions than answers. Why so many secrets? And what did he know about this house? That night I waited until dark. I knew this was my chance, and maybe my only one. So, I took advantage of the moment. I searched through a box labeled tools and found an old crowbar and a flashlight. I had to go inside this house. It was calling me, and I needed to answer. I waited until the street went quiet. No cars, no dogs barking, no porch lights clicking on, just the hum of distant traffic and the whisper of leaves in the breeze. My boots touched the grass softly, avoiding the gravel, flashlight in my hand. But it was off, for now. I didn't want to be seen by the neighbors, and in the other hand, a crowbar. I made my move when I knew it was 100% clear, but strangely, I still felt watched every step of the way. I told myself, there's no way anyone saw me. My plan was calculated. I made sure I moved quiet and swiftly through the night. The burned house stood like a scar. No one ever treated. The walls were blackened and blistered, still smelling faintly of smoke, even after all these years. Beams jutted through the roof, like splinters from a broken spine. The front door sagged inward, scorched and half off the hinges. I pried the boards from the front door, and the house seemed to breathe, as though it was excited for my arrival. The house's whispers became louder and more inviting the closer I came. I could hear it groan and pulsed as though it was alive. It whispered my name, and it felt almost familiar. I had been here before. I had seen this place many years ago. And now I was back here. Then suddenly I heard footsteps behind me. It was my next-door neighbor.
"What are you doing here?"
He said in a demanding but concerned voice. "Why did you follow me?" I responded calmly, even though I didn't know his intentions.
"I told you to stay away."
His eyes narrowed and I could tell he wanted to say more. "Well, what's so dangerous? Everyone acts so secretive. I just want answers." He looked me up and down and took a deep breath. Then he spoke again, but this time a truth came.
"There was a family. I never knew their names. They were new to the neighborhood. They seemed nice enough. A mom, dad, daughter, and son. The fire started out of nowhere. I mean, it was fast. I had just caught a whiff of the smoke and came running, but I was too late. But it was strange. I never heard any screams, just silence, and the boy's body was never recovered."
I stepped closer, and his eyes lit up. "Hello, nosy neighbor."
"Wait, how? It was you."
"I knew you'd finally recognize me. It's a shame you're too late. The fire opened the portal. This place, it chose me, and I learned to live with it. Learned how to keep it contained. Sometimes that means giving it what it wants. People like you, my family. You think I'm the villain? No, I'm the lock on the gate. You were the one who got too nosy and turned the key." If you hear the whispers from an old boarded-up house, run. And whatever you do, do not open what was meant to burn. And remember, hell doesn't need fire. It just needs a door. So now you've heard the stories, you've walked through the ashes, peeked behind the nailed doors, listened to the whispers in the dark. You thought they were just stories, old houses with tragic pasts. But the truth is, they never forgot. Not the screams, not the blood, not the ones who came too close. Now you carry them with you, in your thoughts, in your walls, in your dreams. If something knocks tonight, don't let it in. It already knows the way. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Sterling Short Stories, but only if you dare.